Thank you for your tuning. Thank you for your viewership. To 82 subscribers, thank you. You are infinitely appreciated. I like to get up close a little bit in person on the camera. It's a habit. Maybe I'll step out of it in the next video. Maybe I'll get it the next time. Maybe I'll keep doing it. Excuse me. Alright, here's the diagram. What we have. Here's the middle ground. Here's where you want to be. Here's the acceptance, the absorption of anything that is optimal. Here and here. Here's your brain. Here's your brain. Here. This is, imagine you're looking at the top, from the top down into your cranium. Here's your middle ground, middle of the top of your head. Here's your right hemisphere. Here's your left hemisphere. Now technically, blue should represent the right based off of what the right hemisphere of the brain is. And red should represent the left side of the brain based off of what the redshift energy is. But with that being said, to help you understand the inverse reflux of the materialistic realm, the duality of all, and forgive me if this is not drawing the scale perfectly proportioned, but you understand, you get the gist. So you have the blue for the left hemisphere and the red for the right hemisphere. If you're left hemisphere brained, you're right-handed. If you're right hemisphere brained, you're left-handed. Now why is this red in the right? Because it's right shift, red energy. Right turning. Left turning, blue shift, blue energy. When you use the right side of your brain, you're going to be a left-sided person outwardly. So thus you now give off the blue side of things, creativity, art, etc. That's a very minimal scale of what we're talking about here. When you're left hemisphere brained, you're going to use the right side of your body outwardly. And that's right shift energy, logical, patterns, structures. Hence why we have this color scheme. The green is the source energy. Now you have the green, now you have these loops intertwining because the source energy infiltrates all parts of the brain and vessel, allowing you constant energy upgrades and intake and resurgence and recharges and regeneration and improvement ability. However, what happens when you get lost in ego worship, which likes to try to mimic the source energy ability. Let's say you like hanging out on the lower left quadrant and you're person one. And you don't want to agree with nothing except for your loved one. It's all about your relationship. So for person one and two, they like to bubble themselves in. They like to act like nobody else is them except for them. And they're right to an extent. But what happens is when you start doing this bubble in action so much, when you start not associating with anyone else and only doing that on surface levels and not accepting the fact that ultimately they are you, that you have to hold enough grudges to zone yourself in more and more and more and more and more. What you wind up doing, you think that the more you do that, you're protecting yourself against this free energy here, which is ultimately your salvation and beyond. It's your thriving to grab onto this free energy. But what you've gone for, what you've gotten in a trap of doing, is boxing yourself in via, no, nobody else is me, nobody else is us, it's us against them, forever, forever. And when you start holding on to that so much, you think that you can expand this circle to push this out. No. What happens is you start actually burning yourself out and you don't even recognize yourself anymore. And that's what it starts looking like, because you start hearing these stories. They start all familiar about, oh, I don't even remember what I like. I don't remember what I truly want to be. I don't know if I can remember it anymore. I can't tell. Blah, 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 blah. Nothing works for me anymore. Blah, blah, blah. It's just not good enough. Because you got a bunch of secrets you're worshiping. Or sometimes in that secrets, you just got a bunch of misery worship, fear worship, that you don't want to deal with. You keep going harder, and then you zone yourself out, and now you can't even recognize yourself anymore. And it gets turned into this thick gulp that can even look like a mole or a tumor or whatever you want it to look like. But that's what it looks like. And that's because you're doing it. You're starting it. You don't want to latch on. You don't want to accept the relationship between you and all else. You don't want to accept your innate birthright of omnipotence with self, which is the connection to source energy. You keep trying to run from you. You don't want to latch on. You don't want to latch on. You don't want to be free. You want to be a mold. You want to be a block. And that's why I say that with a couple in there, because that's what this quadrant would be. You're stuck over here. It's just you and your family, you and your loved one against the world. That's where you are. You're over here. You're in the box of creativity over here. You want to box yourself in. Persons 3 and 4 over here. They want to zone themselves in. And then this person, 3 and 4, maybe they don't even know each other on this side, because on this side, they're two independent people who have ran away from starting their business, starting their plumbing business, and starting their art supply store business respectfully. And then they just box themselves in and act like they can get along with no one, because everyone in their family just runs away from all their goals, so they have a right to just box themselves in and act like they're better than the rest of the people they hang around, because at least they torture themselves about admitting what they want to do, but they still don't do what they want to do. So they just box themselves in and act like they're justified in doing that because they're relation to where else. It doesn't matter. Whether you want to be better than or less than, it's an ego trip. Whether you think you're better than or less than, obsessively, it's an ego trip. You got to let go. You got to latch on. You have to allow yourself the ability to flow into the source energy. Allow yourself to flow into the source energy. Let go of this fear worship illusion of power. There's no power here. Let go of the diseases. Let go of the misery worship. It's you constructing the misery. Let go. You want to be as free flowing as you were meant to be. You have a right to know. You have a right to be. So allow yourself to be. Connect to the energy. Allow to be you. And when we come back next time, we'll get into some examples of the circles. How you get into ego traps on the top. Source respect, source appreciation, source energy, source prosperity.